Welcome to Crooked Glasses Tarot. Today, we have a message from the Eagles. Now, someone asked in the comments from the last video for a message from Aphrodite. And ironically enough, this was very exciting to me because I love Aphrodite. Ever since I've been a little kid, I've always been enamored with her, and I didn't realize why until I was older, much older, that I actually do kind of connect with her in a lot of ways, like especially through my astrology. I have a lot of Venus and Scorpio in my chart, which is very Aphrodite. Um, if that surprises you about the Scorpio part, then look into it. But so I was going to do a message from Aphrodite. And I even have my Aphrodite statue. I have like little offerings. Like I have my rose bush here. And some of the flowers just fell off, and I put them on her altar. And it's totally ready to go for Aphrodite's message all week. I've been so excited about it. But let me explain to you why it's not going to be that. So all weekend I've been seeing eagles. And that's not that uncommon here. I do see them out on the lake quite often, but usually they're at a distance. Especially when the lake was frozen, they would sit out on the ice and like look at the house. We'd be like looking at each other, but it was always like quite far away. However, Friday we've had like a lot of wind. You can't probably quite see it, but it's even windy out there right now. And Friday we had a windstorm. It was stormy. It was crazy. It was my favorite kind of weather. So after work, I went outside to enjoy the windstorm, and I ended up going out on the dock, and it was so windy I had to like hold on to the pole to pull. Like my neighbors probably thought I was nuts because I could have easily gotten blown in the water, but that's what I enjoy doing. Not getting blown in the water, but enjoy crazy weather. So I'm out there, and I actually saw eagles like several times, like kind of out. I don't know. They were like it must have been good fishing or something. But lo and behold, I see this huge eagle, like maybe like a couple 100 feet away, and it was down that way. And he was kind of close to the shore. I usually don't see him that close. And I was watching him fly, and mind you, it is so windy that like you can barely stand. So anything even flying around in that weather is just impressive to see. Period. So I'm out there watching it, and I think to myself, I'm like, oh man, I wish he would come over here. And wouldn't you know, that eagle. Now the wind was blowing towards the east, towards this way, and the eagle was east of me. So he had to fly into the wind. I mean, it had to be like 50-mile-an-hour winds. It might even been more. It was crazy. He started flying into the wind, much to my amazement, and he's flying closer and closer to me, right? And of course I didn't have my phone. Like when I go outside, I leave my phone in, but so I had no way to take pictures. But it didn't matter. I was just like enamored. And sure enough, this eagle flies right overhead, not even overhead, like right in front of me. And how he did it, I have no idea, because the wind was insane. And you could see like his feathers were like, it was like somehow he managed to fly against this wind, and he flew up maybe like 6-7 feet in front of me. Like I could have hit him. I could have poked him with a stick. He was so close, and then he like kind of. I'm saying he could have been a sheep, but he could. Then he kind of like hovered, and he was looking at me. Like we were looking at each other. Like I could see his beak. I could see his eyes. I could see his like feathers like in the air, and it was so incredible because I've never been that close to an eagle before. And he kind of like did this like, he was like over, like kind of like a kite. How a kite kind of moves around a little bit. And clearly he was checking me out. Like there's no question in my mind, and it's not me being imaginative. Like he probably was like, "What the hell is this person doing?" Probably never seen anybody standing in the wind like that. But we like locked eyes, and we connected. It was really cool. And then he checked me out. It was only for a few seconds, but it did stretch out. And then he started flying down, and it was cool because I had a lot of time to like watch him, and then he ended up flying away. But it clearly like came at great. I mean, it didn't look like he had any effort, but there's no way that was easy to fly against the wind like that. So, anyways, that was Friday. Yesterday, which was Saturday, um, I was gonna film the Aphrodite message. I've been really excited. I've had like Aphrodite in my energy all weekend, and it's been great. I've had an Aphrodite weekend. So I was getting set up and everything, and the weather was beautiful. So I was like, "Oh, I'm gonna film outside." There's like cattails. You'll see them eventually if you follow the channel. There's cattails over, and the way the light was hitting, it was glimmering. It was total Aphrodite. So I'm like, "Oh, I'm gonna film outside." Anyway, so I start setting my stuff up, and the weather started changing. I don't know. I ran into one problem after another, but while I was outside, like trying to arrange things, I don't know if it was the same eagle, but an eagle flew. Um, he flew just over like where this dock is right here, so just higher than that. So it's maybe like 15 feet, 3 meters off of the water. For me, it was kind of eye level because my house is up, and I was on the deck here, and I just happened to be. I wasn't outside a lot because I was in and out, but I just happened to be out there, and here's this eagle just cruising, and it was just cool, and it was very inspiring. Like I love animals, I love the birds, so I was super inspired, and I'm like, oh yeah, this message is gonna be great to Eagles. I got Eagle support twice in a row. What are the odds? Um, so, anyways, long story short, I didn't film. Like the weather changed, and then I couldn't film in here, and I did a bunch of stuff. While I was moving the cars, even the tower card flopped out, and what looked I was actually quite disappointed, but I ended up getting like real in my head about the video, and these videos aren't like I don't care about making money or anything. These videos are just for fun, and I kind of lost sight of that. But the silver lining on that well, there was a silver lining. That's all I'm gonna say to that. So even though I didn't film the video, well, as you could like, all this here is new. Like I didn't have this set up like this. So I completely redid my little temple room, and it's like awesome now. It feels so good. So yeah, I didn't get a video, but the Venus energy totally kicked in. So anyways, now Sunday I go. I was like, okay, well maybe I'll be able to do the video today. And but I usually always work out on the weekend. I couldn't work out yesterday because I was doing all that other stuff. So I go for a quick workout, and I work out across the street, and there's some woods and like a church in a little school. It's real like cute and quaint, and there's a lot of room, like a little playground. I can do like pull-ups and stuff, and then I jog around, and I always see tons of birds. Like I always get tons of animals out there, and it's just great. And I was out. I was doing pull-ups on like the monkey bars, and I look up as I'm doing a pull up, and here's this giant. I mean, they're huge. Like if you've ever seen an eagle, like in real life, they're massive. I mean, it's like a man-sized. It's like a man-sized bird, flying through the air, and this guy was pretty close, or he, whatever, was pretty close, and he wasn't flying like to the left or to the right. Was flying right at me, like directly beelined. Like if he decided to swoop down, he would have hit me right in the chest. Like it was that exact. And he just flew right over, no problem, just gliding. I didn't even see him flap, just. Um, And I don't know if he was like looking at me or checking me out. I mean, who knows? He was doing eagle stuff, but it didn't matter. It inspired me, because I actually wasn't really that like motivated on my workout. I've just been relaxing. So it got me going. And then while I'm jogging, I'm like, I don't know, it just hit me so hard. It's like that's every single day I've seen an eagle like close, you know, and that doesn't happen to me very often. So while I was jogging and doing my workout, like I couldn't get over. I couldn't get over it. Like I could feel the energy of the eagles. I was like, well, the eagles have a message clearly, or at the very least they're in my energy. So we're gonna do a message from the eagles, and I feel like just me telling you that is a message in and of itself, right? Eagles don't struggle. They work with what's going on. They work with the breeze. They work with whatever. They're opportunistic. They see things from a different point of view, right? Um, that's like the traditional eagle symbolism is like see things from a higher perspective. But also in like mythology and things like that, they were often considered messengers, especially like when it comes to like Norse things. The eagle lives in the Yggdrasil, the world tree, and Odin is associated with eagles, and I don't know if Aphrodite is or not, but I guess she is in my world. Um, so let's see what the cards say. Also, another thing that struck me too was that eagles mate for life, or at least I'm pretty sure they do. I know when I see the eagles out here, there's always two of them. When I see one, the other one's somewhere around. And that got me thinking about the viewer that left a comment about the holding on to people. And I just wanted to comment on that a little bit because, wow, those just came out. Because, when we cling on to people, there's a reason for that. And if you're anything like me, you tend to fight yourself and you think, oh, why am I holding on to this person? I just want to be rid of them, or maybe they're not good. I'm assuming it's a person, I'm assuming it's a relationship or something. But it could be anything. It could be a job, could be a place, it could be a place you lived. It doesn't matter. And what I'd like to offer you is a different way of thinking about this. And because you mentioned it's been 2 years, so obviously this is not a new issue. So maybe look at it differently. Try, we cling on to people. I'm speaking from my personal experience. I cling on to people that see me, and I can count on this hand how many people that's been in my life. Very few people genuinely see who I am, and when they do, it's very powerful for me, and it hooks me, and there's a reason for that, right? Because I haven't normally been seen in my life, so that fulfills something. I strongly believe that we're in relationships because it fulfills some aspect. So there's a reason you're clinging on to this person. And instead of being so angry at yourself about it and fighting, which I'm just assuming you are, maybe you don't, but if you were me, you would be. And instead of doing that, show that aspect of you that is clinging some love. Try something different, and try to see what it was about that person, place, or thing that aspect of you, or that you are clinging on to. So in the case of me, it's being seen. So just seeing that part of you will probably lessen that a little bit. And I really have a problem when you go on YouTube and you hear all this nonsense, I'm going to say, about all this like clearing people's energy, and you got to cut these people out. And of course you do, sometimes you do have to cut people out, but society really marginalizes relationships, and relationships are very important, especially if you are clinging on to this person. Obviously there was something important about that, and I believe relationships are important. We live in an age where you have like Tinder and all this other stuff where you can like flip through and it really cheapens relationships. And I'm not against Tinder. Like, I think it's cool to like flip through the people and stuff, but relationships are very, very powerful. Um, and let me tell you, they are very powerful. Uh, I was incarcerated for many years, and if you made friends with someone, they would separate you. They would separate where you lived, and they would even maybe move you to a different prison, because it's very powerful. You know, there's a reason they did that, and because they know the value of that. You know, people will look out for each other, and I feel right now in this day and age, you know, it's an unprecedented thing, right? Just like how you can meet people, and don't let people tell you. I don't care who it is. Don't let people tell you otherwise, because obviously that doesn't help. Like, you know, you just saying it doesn't mean anything doesn't make it not mean anything, right? So the whole what I'm trying to say is show that aspect of you that is holding on some love, because obviously it needs some love, you know? And it's okay to cling on to that person. Like, acknowledge that. Like, I'm not saying, you know, stalk them or anything. You might have to use some discipline. You might have to stop stalking them. Maybe stop following them on Facebook. Maybe stop, like, you know, if you pass by their house on the way home, take a different way home. You're going to have to do little things to separate that. But it doesn't mean being so cold and cauterizing, you know? And you know, maybe it's someone that died in your life and you can't get over them. Well, then maybe have something that reminds you of them, you know, that honors that aspect of them that you liked. You know, you could have a little shrine. Like, I have that with my dog that died. You know, I have a little shrine for him because, you know, I still love him. And you know, even if it's someone that you deem toxic, they're still a person. Remember that. They're still a human being, and they're still trying to do the best they can, you know? And even I look back at toxic people I have in my life, and there are still things I admire about them. So there's a lot to remember when it comes with that. But anyways, I pontificated about that too much. So while I was doing that, I don't know if you noticed, but I had 3 cards pop out, which is incredible. We had the Queen of Wands, and then was that the Two of Wands, and the Strength card. I think we're going to need more cards. But I feel like there's already a message coming forth. So I'm seeing, obviously, you are the Queen of Wands. And I feel like you are standing in your power. You are making a new decision. You're making a decision to do something, and that might require strength. When I see the Strength card, lately I tend to think of it as like you soothing the beast inside of you. So maybe that's your fears, right? Your shadow. And you're being gentle with it. So that kind of goes along with what I was saying about seeing the aspect of you that is clinging to that other person or that other place or thing. So this might be a decision to truly walk away from that other person, right? Or that other thing. It doesn't have to be. Maybe making peace with this side of you is going to allow you freedom. You know, and you see he's holding the world right there. So maybe it's gonna free you up. You know, once you let go of one thing, you can move, right? You can't move if you're like holding on to something. I mean, you know, you can, but you ain't gonna move very far. Bottom of the deck is 10 of Pentacles. So this very much could, you know, be something very important to you, and a very this is a big thing. This is a big thing. Let's get more cards, shall we? What do the Eagles? And the Eagles. I was saying the Eagles are representative of a higher perspective, and the Two of Wands, he's like looking at the world, and that's a pretty amazing perspective to look at things from that zoomed out. So I incredibly, I feel like it goes along with my little rant about relationships. A different way of looking at it, right? Oh my goodness, Tower. And that might be a realization. That Tower might be a realization of something. It could just be. I mean, like the Tower can be a divine act, right? We're seeing a lightning bolt blow the roof off it, and people jump out. So amazing things happen when we release things. I feel in this case the Tower is a good thing. We have the Two of Pentacles. Two of Pentacles, he's kind of between worlds. He's juggling. And look at in the background, you have the waves, the tumultuous waters. But it's also behind him. So I feel like that is behind you once you have this Tower moment. And again, another 2, 2, 2, right? Double twos. That's too many cards. We're not taking that whole stack. Let's see. I feel like I need more. What do we have, Eagles? Where are we heading? This choice. Maybe it's unsaid so far. Judgment. Oh my goodness, and I dropped it. Let me pick this up. So we had the Judgment card. And what just came out was the Ace of Cups, the Eight of Wands, and the Nine of Pentacles. So I'm starting to get a picture. So you coming to realization, you making this decision, and you standing in your power, right? That's Queen of Wands. Realizing who you are, right? The Queen of Wands is one of the most powerful and positive rulers in tarot, in my opinion. And one thing about, here's the thing about relationships and sensitivity. I guess this is going to be about relationships to a good degree. About these things is they don't require you to be a cold-hearted bastard. What they require is boundaries. Like we need proper boundaries with people, and we need to be firm about them. And the Queen of Wands is that, right? Like people say she's the witch of the tarot. She's fiery, so she's not afraid to tell someone, the boundaries. Okay, we'll just say that nicely. And she has the cat there too. So that resonates with me, the cat, because that's her animal friend, and I love animals, and sometimes we do need to have boundaries with people, and we just have our animals, because I feel like animals you could trust. She could trust your cat, you could trust your dog. So the message I'm getting here is you're knowing yourself, you're coming to terms with yourself, you're understanding yourself, and you're understanding what's going on, and that's allowing you to see things differently, to back up, right? This is like what I spoke about, to back up and look at this from a different point of view, instead of saying, oh, I got to get rid of this person, or I got to get rid of this thing out of my mind, you look back, right? You look back and say, well, this person, you know, maybe it was a relationship, and they knew how to touch you, or they knew how to speak to you. Maybe they made you feel special. Maybe they made you feel safe. Maybe it was a comforting. For instance, my dog Odin, that I talked about that passed, he made me feel very safe. Like I could go, and I used to bring him everywhere because it was such a good partnership, and he was huge. He was like 180 pounds. He was this big wolf-looking dog. And I always felt safe, and I always felt confident I could do anything with him around. And, and then so when I zoom out on that, I can learn things about that. What about him made me feel, we can learn about that. And once we learn that, okay, this person, did this for me, even though I don't want them in my life, or maybe I can't have them in my life, maybe they died, maybe they're moved on, whatever the case is, it doesn't matter. Now you love that part of you, right? So that person, what they did for you is, say like Odin made me feel safe. So how can I do that for myself? And you can look at that. Ironically enough, she's got this huge beast. But anyways, how can you do that for yourself, right? That's very Queen of Wands, I feel like. How can I make myself feel safe, right? And there's a lesson, I guarantee you. There's something there that maybe you can do what they did in some way. You can use those methods, and you can love that part of you that's clinging, right? Look at those jaws. That jaw is locked onto that relationship or that person. But you're going to soothe the beast by loving it. And when you love it, now it's your friend, and it'll work with you. And that's going to be a huge change in your life, right? Because now, instead of clinging on, it's hard to walk forward when you're holding on to this thing in the past, right? And once you let go, boom, you're going to slingshot forward. All sorts of things will change, If you're here, you believe, I'm sure you believe in some form of mysticism, and you believe in divine powers. I don't feel like this is a bad tower. This is a good tower. It's showing movement and blah, yay! Maybe your higher self is like, yay! We finally figured it out, And this is gonna let the new things come in. And this old tower. This is actually, I believe, the tower that the devil sits in. So you're letting that go, and the devil, and this situation is gone. And this is a huge change for you, for us, because now we're able to love ourselves. And I mean, that's a huge lesson. I don't know what you would call that, but I mean, I think we can all agree that that's a huge change in energies, right? You go from yearning and lack and, wanting to fulfillment and understanding and love and compassion, and you're not fighting yourself anymore. And man, when I fight myself, the shit hits the fan. Like, yeah, we don't even want to go there. And then you have these, so, the judgment kind of speaks to the same thing. You're calling clarity, and you're blowing the horn, and I feel like this is also the divine, is going to be there. It's going to help you, and it's going to help you move forward out of this in-between phase, right? Because you're wanting to go, let's say if it was a relationship, you're wanting to go, maybe you want to be in a new relationship, but you can't be in a new relationship if you're holding on to the old one, right? So you're stuck in between. And when this tower is going to eliminate you from that in-between place, no more. And then that brings me, uh, and also I just want to say on the bottom of the deck is 4 cups, right? That kind of speaks to that. There might be a new relationship. There might be a new opportunity, a new business, a new job, a new house, a new whatever. But you don't, look at, dog don't see it because he's clinging. And we all, I mean, I don't know if we all cling, but I cling, and I know some of you do. And you're like, well, if I can't have it, I don't think I need to explain this. This is the underlying energy, right? And then here's the divine saying, hey, man, look at, we got this other thing for you, and it's awesome. It's coming from the sky, right? It's coming from the divine, right? We got this angel wants to bless you. We got these blessings, but we're looking at these empty ass cups, or maybe they're filled with piss and vinegar. But the divine has that good shit. So anyways, and then this brings me to my favorite part. So Aphrodite did show up, because I read this card as Aphrodite. And look, she's got the eagle, 9 of Pentacles, 8 of Wands, Ace of Cups, right? So a new emotional beginning, a new way. The 9 of Pentacles, she's walking in her garden, that's I believe it's the Empress, right? And you can even look, that's like Aphrodite's sign there, or I know it's got other things too, but it's like that symbol of Aphrodite, right? And the Empress is walking through her beautiful garden. She's enjoying. She's got the eagle, she's got the trees. She's dressed nice. Life is good. Walking through the garden as the Empress doesn't get any better than that, right? That's Venusian energy. That's Aphrodite. I knew she was going to show up. And then it's going to move fast, right? And that's kind of like what I was hitting at with the tower. It's going to slingshot you because you've had all this built up inertia and karma and these probably these good things that are waiting for you, and there it is. So, that cup right there is that one right there. This is the better picture of it. And look at that cup, looks great. There you go. We got the bird. Maybe that's the eagle, right? The eagle's blessing it with his little communion wafer there, So there's going to be, it's not just going to be one thing. It's layers of beauty. Look at all this water. The water is calm. It looks like a fountain, right, in her garden. I mean, you can see the imagery is just gorgeous. And it looks magic to me. It looks magical and lovely. And that hand is offering it to you. There's no strings attached, right? It's not gripping it. It's holding it. All you have to do is reach out your hand and take it. And once you do, boom. It's going to come together fast. Or maybe it's the other way around. Once you let go, these things are going to come quickly. I think it's already there. I feel like the speed is instant. This is something you could happen to you as we speak. Something else I want to point out, underneath the four of cups was 4 pentacles. If there was any other card in the tarot that would say holding on and clinging, it would be the 4 of pentacles, right? Oh my goodness. Can't make this up. And then we got the 5 of cups, right? Looking at those piss and vinegar cups. We got the good cups. We got the good cup behind. I mean, they're layering it on. The eagles, they know how to send a message. And then after that, it's movement again. I'm so amazed. Page of Swords, you're right. So new direction. Page of Cups. And then there we go. You're walking away. See ya. Oh my God. The Lovers. So this might be, it doesn't have to be a relationship. Could be a job. Could be anything, right? It's a match made in heaven. And then look at that. You're riding off. Victory. 6 of Wands. Wow. A lot of wands. 10 of Cups. Magician. Anyways, this is beautiful. This is beautiful. So I think the moral of the story is love yourself. This is a clue. Your clinging is a clue, right? Your clinging is the missing piece that you need to move forward. So whatever it is you're clinging to, that's like the missing puzzle piece, and you're trying to shove the wrong puzzle piece into the puzzle. But you have that piece. You can give that to yourself, right? Or you can at least try. You can start to try. No one, you know, we can get stuck in trying to be perfect and do all these lines. But here's the thing. You have lots of help available to you. If you're here on this channel, I promise you, you have an army of like spiritual beings that are just ready to help you. Angels, deities, animals. I promise you. So if you even try, even a little bit, they're going to help you. Ask for help, Ask for help. You got to ask for the right help, though. You don't want to ask for them back, right? You want to ask for, like, how can I fulfill this in myself? And if you start trying, you will have the guidance. Believe me, if I can't, I was in prison, I worked at a factory. I'm, like, one of the thickest skulled people you've ever met. So if I can do that, if I can love myself, you can too, I promise you. So try it and let the angels come, let the support come and let the tower fall, see what happens. You could always go back to the old way, it'll always be there if you want. But, let the eagles help you, let Aphrodite help you, Ask Aphrodite how to show you love. She will show up, I promise. She will. I mean, she shows up for me. Look she showed up in this reading, So give it a shot. And I think it will work out well for you. So I think that's all that I have. I thank you so much for leaving comments, and I do read them, and I will do readings. I will do suggestions if it's in my power to do them. And I thank you for showing up for us under the tree by the lake. And I hope you have an excellent day, and I really hope this helped you. Much love to you. Thank you.